Today, as we continue with the delightful brief book of Ruth, we turn to chapter 3. And in chapter 3, after telling her mother-in-law Naomi about how kind and generous and favorable that Boaz had been to her, Naomi realizes that there is an opportunity for Ruth here to find another husband. And so, whereas the first time Ruth went into the fields to get grain so that she and her mother-in-law had enough to eat, this time she returns in chapter 3, not looking for grain, but hoping to secure a husband. And she follows her mother-in-law's instructions, and she goes, and Boaz has eaten and drunk, and he's very contented, and he lies down and falls asleep at around the pile of grain, and Ruth goes in and places herself just at his feet. And in chapter 3, verse 9, he wakes up and he's startled at midnight to find this woman right there next to him. And he says, "Who are you?" And she answered, "I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your cloak over your servant, for you are next of kin." As I said in the sermon last Sunday, this is really a dramatic moment in which Ruth, a Moabite peasant woman with no status, no power, no authority whatsoever in that context, is imploring Boaz to fulfill the ancient custom of Israel's God in terms of redeeming or raising up a family for a deceased family member. Now, what's interesting here is that, Boaz is not technically her brother-in-law. She wasn't her husband's brother, but he is a part of Elimelech, her father-in-law's family. And in asking Boaz to spread his cloak over her, it's to take her as his wife, to protect her and all that that means. But Boaz then in chapter 3 will mention there is someone who's a closer relative, and technically if they were going to fulfill the law, that person first had the right to act as the redeemer of next of kin. And thankfully for the biblical story, that man doesn't want the responsibility of doing that. And so Ruth, after losing her husband, has now found another husband in Boaz. And we will pick up that story tomorrow. But it's also, again, a wonderful reminder that sometimes people who have no power, no status, no authority may be people through whom God is speaking and reminding us of God's laws and commandments.